Hello everybody, how's it going? This is Dicebag, artist, game designer, world builder, and occasional VTuber, and still kind of futzing around with things on the stream. I wanted to get the Twitter stream chat in a place where I could see it, and the Twitter stream chat is not very user friendly. Okay, hold on, shut up. No, stop. Never mind, forget it. Hey Twitter people, if you watch over there, sorry, but we ain't reading your chats. It's too much of a hassle. They gotta have a chat pop out. You hear X is pretty popular. Evergrade. Come on, man. You know X isn't a thing. Let's see. Guess what? I actually have some kind of new thing that I can do because I got my 50 follower threshold. Let me see. I'm supposed to be able to add VIPs, and I was gonna do that for you, and I'm not exactly sure how to do that. I can give you a mod. We're gonna make you a mod, Evergrade. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything else there. Don't abuse it. Alright, so today, what are we doing? Didn't really have a plan in mind of things I needed to do. All the things I need to do are things that I want to like record as a screen thing for my time-lapse videos. So doing them on stream ain't gonna be great. So I guess we're just gonna do some more class illustrations like I did last time. And that'll be probably the whole stream, just me doodling. So yeah. This should be fun. So anyways, let's pop into the voice chat for the boys. And then we'll get right on it. Let's see. Screen share. That one.
Howdy.
Ah. Hello.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. I don't know if you heard, but I actually became a mod for this really popular streamer recently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wild stuff. Never saw it coming. I didn't even need to apply. Crazy.
You applied by the fact that there's nobody else there.
Finally, a job where I can meet the standards.
Yes. Let's see. How are things looking everywhere?
Looks fine in the stream and on my end. I see Clip Studio Pro.
Alright, I'm just looking at my numbers, seeing if anybody else is watching. So, what are we doing with this thing? Wait a second, what is this? Hold on. Oh, right, I'm in CSP. I was looking for Photoshop buttons for a second, I was confused.
It's been so long since I've used Photoshop.
I use it for my thumbnails and stuff, just because it's easier to use the snapping feature on there.
I see.
But,
I haven't touched it because of the subscription model.
I don't use the subscription model.
Oh, they've got a free version?
I have older Photoshop that doesn't have that.
You're so lucky. I gave up on it when I couldn't get an old version.
I like CSP better for drawing anyways. What are we gonna do with this? I was thinking before the stream that I might do the Fang class. Let's see.
Have I seen any creatures from the Fang class before?
Probably. I know I've posted them on the social medias.
I'm bad with names, but if I see their designs, they'll click.
We'll put them up on stream here.
Huh, I actually don't remember this guy. And I usually remember most of your creatures.
You remember most of them, huh?
Visually, don't ask me to name every creature.
I was about to say, name all 115.
Oh, you follow Dicebag, huh? Name every creature.
There we go. I don't have much space behind me on the screen. That sucks. We'll make him real small.
He already looks small. It'll fit.
Yeah. So we'll try to have him like lunging downward to take a bite out of somebody, I guess.
Good bat.
That's what bats do, right?
I hear bats suck.
Do they suck?
Yes.
Well, that would be why he also has the vampire class, I guess.
Precisely.
Alright. So how was your Thanksgiving?
Very good. Got to see my family with my immediate family, and we all spent the evening together. Watched a movie, talked about all sorts of stuff. It was nice. Nothing too special, but in that case, I'm fine with having a generally quiet evening. How was yours?
Yeah, it was not as involved as Thanksgiving usually is for my family. I have a ton of like aunts and uncles and cousins that are usually in it, but the biggest branch of the family had a pregnancy that's about to pop, so they were away.
About to pop. I like the way you described it.
Now, if you could see my cousin that is about to pop, you'd probably describe it the same way.
I'm sure.
She is big.
New family member is imminent.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, it was kind of light, but we had some of my cousins with their kids there. So my second cousins.
That's good.
They're goofy. Some of them are Pokemon fans. I found out that they watched the first Pokemon movie recently.
Really?
Yeah. So one of them was going on about that.
That's good.
Yeah. Then I was like, yeah, I saw that one in theaters. and they had promo cards of Mew.
Oh, you gotta be one of the cool kids.
I was one of the cool kids. Yeah, I got Ancient Mew. I probably should have like actually drawn, like sketched out the whole body of this thing before I went in adding details.
I know that feeling too well.
I'm regretting it now.
I know that feeling too.
Relatable.
Pound sign relatable.
Took me a second to figure out what you meant.
The real way to say hashtag.
Where did the whole concept of calling it a pound sign come from?
I don't know, but I thought that was how it was called originally. That's how I heard it referred to. I was never a kid and like, oh, you just press the hashtag button right here, son. The phone.
It's just the number button.
It is.
So why do we call it a pound? We ain't British.
Aren't they? But dice, aren't they all number buttons?
I guess that could be a reason, but you could just call it the number symbol button.
Press the number symbol. It
But
still sounds weird.
If somebody says press the number button, you're obviously it's not talking about a specific number, right?
Yeah.
So it could easily be inferred that you're talking about the symbol.
Possibly. Press the number symbol. Press the pound sign. Press the hashtag. No, the hashtag doesn't work with that. That's a good question. I'm not gonna look it up. He's diving in for the kill.
He's coming for you with his little fangs. Yeah.
No, he's gonna nibble on my neck. No.
Let's make these fangs nice and big so we can tell what they are. Since they are the focus of the class.
Oh my gosh, they're huge.
Let's see. I don't think I've drawn this one since I made the design. This
When
is
did you make the design, Dice?
Huh?
When did you make the design?
Let's see. Let's see if my computer will tell me.
Computer, when did I make this design?
A year and 2 days ago.
Alright. You all right? 1 year and 2 days. That adds up to 3 something, right? Not too long. 1 plus 2. I know my math. You can do this easy. Hmm. I'm not sure how to describe exactly, but it's on my left side from where I'm looking. The eye on the edge of his face looks a little weird. So I'm not. That's might just be from the angle.
It's probably because it's kind of bulgy.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It does look like it's bulging. It's probably because it's bulging out, like bulging out because of the angle. It's easy to forget.
That's how it is in the reference. So, let's see. We'll see how it looks later, and maybe I'll tweak it a little bit.
Sure.
Let's get everything down before I make any decisions on that. It's also not quite lined up with the other side.
It happens. It's very. People can be very easy to please as long as you put in enough work. Like, I'll finish another piece and I'll look at it for a few minutes. Usually when I'm mentally finished, I can see a lot more flaws, a lot more look in it, but if I know how to settle and not fiddle with it forever, it usually pays off.
Yeah. You know, I think the big, oversized fangs might be messing with his expression a little bit.
Do you want him to look like he's smiling? Cause...
Yeah, I'm kind of going for like a mischievous smile there.
I like it. It kind of reminds me of that weird way I see Kirby tend to smile, because his mouth isn't curved up, but it's usually like at the top, like you think of it with a regular smile, but it's wide enough that I can still see that he's obviously happy.
Wing in there.
What's this creature's name?
This is Flitox.
Ah.
Is the poison main guy.
Gotcha. I assume he prefers to live in dark caves.
How could you tell?
I don't know. I think it's something that bats do, but I'm not sure. Are bats even real? Or are they like birds?
I don't know. I don't think bats are government drones. I think they're too clumsy for that.
You're right. You're right. Real government drones wouldn't need to rely only on sound waves.
Whoops. Alright, I feel like this needs to have a bend in it here.
At least one bend. Yeah, like that. Let's see. In terms of recent events, this week was probably one of the busiest I've had for a while. It's not. Yeah. For the past few weeks, I've been prepared mentally to work with my manager to get 2 projects done. A big one is sort of finished, but we had to wait on it. And the second one, I'm waiting on him to say we need to do it. It will probably happen around the time upper management comes in for a very beloved visit. Because it's always fun, it doesn't screw up anyone's day.
Yeah.
Yep. Other than that...
Management.
Yep. Other than that... just replacing some old cardboard shelving with some new ones. Usually I tend to be worried about some big changes because it tends to be change for the sake of change. But in this case, it actually was a good idea. The only problem was we have a lot of excess and not enough room for it, so that's going to be sitting around unless we can send it back.
AS Brunard is in the chat. Welcome. We're doodling some class illustrations today. We got Evergrade here.
Howdy. Just hanging out and chatting.
Let's see.
Not much else going on. Just felt been kind of checked out mentally because the winter weather kind of brings my mood down, and I've had Thanksgiving in my head the whole time. The night of it, I had to keep reminding myself that I had work the next day.
Ooh.
Yeah. The bright side is that I myself wasn't actually busy, but the whole store was, and I'm probably going to be digging through some extra work on Monday on top of the work I already have. We'll see what happens. And from Friday until like the end of December, things are usually pretty hectic.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough that we normally work 4 10-hour shifts a week, so Friday was a normal day off after the Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of the time we have overtime, but
yeah,
not so sure. This time.
Unfortunate. Do you work nights?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I could do that because I'm not antisocial, but I'm not really the type who gets lonely too often, and I'm not afraid to mess around with my phone if I want to talk to people, at least online. But I know not being out of the sun even more than I normally am would kind of probably mess with me. I've never tried it before, but between that and the fact that I have a fair amount of trouble sleeping normally, it would have to come with some benefits or a lack of options.
Yeah, well, around here you get like a 10% increase in pay over the day shift, guys.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's a nice little bonus.
All right.
I've been on night shift for a long time, so I've kind of adapted.
Yeah. Makes sense.
My whole sleep schedule is built around being on night shift all the time.
Sleep in the day, work in the night.
Not just sleep in the day. Also, I sleep twice a day.
Uh,
So I'll sleep in the early morning, and then wake up around 9. Then I'll stay up for a while and just kind of do... I'll like do all my social media stuff and make posts and whatnot. And get dressed, get showered and all that. And once around like 1 p.m., 1 to 2, I'll get back in bed and take a nap until my shift starts.
let's see. I've always been terrible about taking naps. I usually sleep like one time for a whole day, and the next I just get back to things until I'm tired again. I'm always antsy to get stuff done, or at least not lie around more than I need to. I think in college and for the most college, I normally get 6 hours. I try to get a bit longer, but I'd have so much trouble sleeping unless I dozed off a bit here and there after initially waking up. Because usually it'll be early in the morning, and my alarm will be an hour out, and I'll be antsy to get up and not be late for school. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I started doing the whole sleep twice a day thing just because I couldn't really sleep for more than like 5 hours at a time. I figured if I can only sleep that long at a time, I'll just do it more often and for less time at once.
Sounds good. Just a good workaround. I can usually get by with a low amount of sleep, but I can usually feel when I don't have it. I'm just a little more antsy and less focused than I normally am, which can actually be fine on a work day, because my workloads tend to be that I have a lot of work front loaded in the morning, and after that it's fairly sporadic. It's sporadic, usually with a minor thing that, unless it's something someone needs immediately, which I'm fine with stopping for, I can usually get to most of it at any time, just as long as I don't put it off. And I'm normally good about keeping most work from bleeding into the next day.
I totally forgot what I was going to do. I was in the middle of changing windows and now I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now. Need my color reference.
That'd help.
Yeah. Help to know which colors I need to put on the guy.
It's important. I have a question, Dice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
I just go for vanilla.
My man! Finally, someone with taste! I don't care if people think it's boring. Vanilla is as valid a flavor as any other.
I am a man of simple taste.
Sometimes that's all you need. I think my my favorite's vanilla as well. My second favorite would probably be sherbet.
Sherbet?
Is it?
Haven't
Wait,
had-
is it?
I
Is
haven't,
it sherbet or
I haven't had that stuff since I was a kid.
I've had it occasionally. It's really good, and not having it a lot is probably why I have so many. I'm always so excited when I get it. According to this, it's spelled sherbet, not sherbet.
You sure it's not sherbet?
Is it?
Is it French?
Oh man, have I been eating French food this whole time? God, disgusting.
Tell me about
Let me
it.
see. Ew, French. Sherbet. Apparently, sherbet isn't a wrong way to put it, as far as I can tell, according to one website. But allegedly, it's actually less common, which I don't think I believe, because I've only heard it pronounced as sherbet. Sort of like how February is pronounced February by a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't get that one.
I don't either. I forget it has an R in it most of the time until I write it out. Okay, I need to look up pronunciation. Okay, GIF is pronounced with a hard G, not GIF. Yeah, it's not GIF, it's GIF.
Well, everybody knows that.
I keep forgetting because I don't use the word GIF a lot in my head. I'll see it, but I won't say it and think of the pronunciation.
I tend to always like use the inner voice when I read things.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have a specific way that I pronounce things, even if I don't use them.
Yeah.
I should probably save this as something other than blank page before I get too far. And save it as a Clip Studio Paint file. Okay. So you're like a Nintendo fanboy, right?
Kind of. I keep up with a lot of stuff.
Have you ever tried those Mario and Rabbids games?
I did. I need to get back to them. They're pretty fun, but I noticed that at least with a lot people who are hardcore enough to post about them, they tend to be kind of hard to finish. Though it doesn't seem to be like there's a key point where the difficulty spikes up or it gets too grindy. Which I think it's a generally good thing that if it kind of fizzles out at the end, but if people can't quite pinpoint why, there's at least no obvious problems. And I still need to finish the DLC for the first game, but it's very good. It's very good. a very it's best described as a much more basic version of XCOM.
Yeah. I picked that up when I got a Switch for Pokemon, because literally the only thing I get Nintendo consoles for is Pokemon most of the time.
Understood.
But I do tend to pick something else up along with it once I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really got very far in those. But yeah, they've had some interesting stuff in there. I like how they incorporated Mario mechanics into the whole tactical combat thing.
Yeah, with Mario's jumping, using it for mobility and attacks.
Yeah, that adds quite a bit that you wouldn't get from something else.
Yeah. Nintendo tends to be very anal retentive about trusting their IPs to other companies, but sometimes sometimes third parties can come up with clever stuff that they wouldn't. Like Capcom working on the Legend of Zelda a while back. They worked on the Oracle of Ages duology, which were pretty good Game Boy Color games. They could be the bosses could be pretty hard. And Minish Cap, where Link goes between being big and shrinking down to tiny, to the point that a basic jelly monster becomes a boss. Yeah.
That's a feature?
Yeah, I have to play it, but it's the main gimmick of the game. You shrink down to get to different locations. Or like,
But when you get to a regular enemy that's also a boss, you can't just resize back up?
no, I'm pretty sure you can't do it just out of nowhere. It's probably a case where you have to go to a special location, or there's a feature that's only done at one place, so you're not just so that you don't go into a small place and explode out of it. That reminds me of like the Mario RPGs, and a good example of using an IP to get people to try something they wouldn't normally, because Mario fans tend to be are a little infamous for being kind of averse to traditional RPGs, so they lean more towards the Mario RPG series. Yeah. People get really wound up on it on Twitter, but I think it's kind of a simple case of people not of thing versus thing paired with thing some people are interested in. And I consider the Mario RPGs to be fairly distinct, at least tonally, compared to most RPGs, at least the ones coming from Japan.
Oh yeah, well, JRPGs barely register as RPGs.
Yeah, for the most part, like RPGs are just the role you're playing is the role like the story that's already set up, and there's not really a lot of freedom by traditional role-playing standards, unless you count the equipment you build and maybe choosing to take on some side quests.
Yeah, I tend to think that role-playing is kind of the key mechanic of a role-playing game. If you don't have that, I struggle to say you have an actual role-playing game. I was definitely soured on JRPGs because of that. But
yeah, I remember that you brought it up. I don't know if it came up on stream how like the role playing is very limited, I guess, because you don't have the story is usually going to be the same, and there's not really a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, well, even with the Western RPGs, I'm kind of annoyed by the limitations I get. When I was playing or trying to play Baldur's Gate, like when I went into it for the stream, when I was streaming it, I was trying to play like a Alex Jones as a character. So I basically just so I could run around saying, alien tentacle monsters put a worm in my brain. Are gonna turn me into gay androgynous freakazoids like them and stuff like that. But the problem is there's no dialogue options that resemble any of that. So you can't actually play it in the game. You just if you do it, you just kind of talking to yourself the whole time. And that just kind of defeats the point of it. So you can't do like any kind of interesting characters. You just play generic race class combo and then throw some skill checks in there, and there's your character. Do you want to pick good option, mean option, or the kill person option? There's your role playing choices.
Like Fallout 4, good, bad, or sarcastic. That reminds me of this small indie game, Class of 09, where it's not a serious game, but the very limited visual novel choice system kind of reminds me of silly choice options where you pick one choice and things spiral so far away from what you actually think you're gonna get.
Well, that was my experience playing Mass Effect to some extent. Actually, that's my experience playing freaking all of them.
Oh, I remember I was watching a clip of a Let's Play, The Wolf Among Us. You were talking with the character in a bar. One of the options was glass him. They thought it meant give him a drink, but apparently it meant smash a glass into his head.
Yeah. No, don't always communicate that very well from the writer's perspective, do they?
No.
Like with Baldur's Gate, you got this one guy that's like a vampire companion you can have, and like it's revealed to you in the game when he tries to bite you while you're asleep. You wake up, and you have the option of like letting him drink from you to regain his strength, or just telling him no. And I said, whatever, alright, we can spare a little blood, I guess, for this dude. But then, as soon as you do that, it cuts to like the cutscene, and he's like got you pinned down to the bed, like latched onto your neck. I was like, what? Come on, man. I was thinking like I'd let him drink from my arm or something, hold out my wrist, he could take a bite. But no, we gotta go the uber gay route of just having this vampire mounting me on my bedroll. No, thanks. That's one of the things that soured me on that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I was expecting the two options to be let him drink your blood or stab him in the gut, but that's kind of close. Like it says, I guess when they said let him do it, it literally meant don't move and let him bite you.
Well, I was already sitting up. We were having a conversation.
And it looks like he just attacked you.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
That is weird. And from your definition, I always considered some of the Western RPGs to be at least a bit more into some sort of customization, or like trying to take different routes.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much a defining characteristic.
Yep. With standard RPGs, the most freedom you have is probably like I said, in customization, like choosing your build or what you use to fight, and I guess choosing to interact with characters. I think Fire Emblem kind of took it a bit further because some of them recently have had marriage options where you can get different new units with characters and give them different stats, which is mainly a gameplay thing because it only comes up so much.
Yeah, Fire Emblem is one of those games that I wish I liked. It's like Monster Hunter. Like, the idea behind it is solid. I just don't like the implementation of it.
You mean like the support system or the overall gameplay?
Well, to be fair, I have only played like one of them, so it may not be representative of all of them. But one of the things that rubbed me the wrong way was how like the attacks played out when you go in and make an attack against the unit. Because the one I played, you'd like move over and attack a unit, and then that unit would get to attack you back on your turn.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. So you're usually going to take some sort of damage if a unit's left alive to counterattack.
Yeah, that always annoyed me because I'm used to like the XCOM style of things where your turn is your turn and enemies don't take actions on your turn. Because that rewards like getting in preemptive attack and stuff. If you attack first, then you're more likely to kill the other guy first. But with Fire Emblem, it was like, you go and attack first, okay, you hit him, he hits you, you both take damage, you're both at like half health. Then he gets his turn, and he hits you, and then you're dead, and you don't get to attack back. So it like punishes you for getting the first hit.
Yeah, I usually work around that, and the few times I've played it, just try to have a few units gang up on that unit that I know is really gonna rock my guys, just to at least mitigate the damage. I get the idea. I get the idea. It's like you're not. Kind of keeps you thinking of like, oh, how will the enemy counterattack? But I can see where it could be annoying. I think, which Fire Emblem did you play?
Don't remember the name of it, but it was a DS one, I think. Maybe a 3DS.
Awakening?
That sounds familiar, but I mean, they all sound familiar.
It's probably Awakening because that was the big entry point for Fire Emblem. It's technically it was the one that saved the series because it was meant to be the last game, and the company Intelligent Systems tried to put everything they could, including a lot of past features, into the game, and it managed to reinvigorate the franchise, more or less.
So it was their Final Fantasy, where it was not actually final at all.
Correct. Yep, hard to believe. I played that one and kinda liked it. I think I've only played two. The one I liked the most was Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, which has a long name because it's a remake of the second game in the series. It was it was pretty fun with a fair difficulty, though it did have some old issues from being an old game. One that I didn't quite notice was some archaic map design, which I probably would have been more annoyed at if I played more games. And one thing I did notice were some annoying tile features, such as the desert ones, which make you move slow, and my personal hated ones, I think there are swamp or poison tiles which damage you periodically.
Ooh.
Which can be kind of a nightmare because even on normal difficulty, the game can get pretty hard, especially because one of the units, the witch, has the ability to teleport behind your squad, and I wasn't able to work out how that works, so they kept nuking my backline because I didn't position them in the center of the group. I positioned them at the back because that's where all the enemies were at the front.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Teleporting can get you. Battle Brothers has some enemies kind of like that. They have this one called the Alp, which is like a nightmare monster that preys on people that are sleeping. And they'll come in at you in like packs. And their main tactic is that they can put your guys to sleep, and they can only attack sleeping targets, but their attacks ignore armor. And whenever you hit one, they all teleport to different locations.
Oh, wow.
There's ways to like fight them that are pretty reliable, but when you first encounter it, it's like, what the hell is going on? Because it defies like the normal way everything else in the game works.
Yeah, like encountering the witches, I got so mad because it screwed up with how I usually approached matches in like that game and the previous game I played, and I didn't know how they worked, so I was struggling so hard. It would have been a nightmare if I was actually went with the traditional mode and lost units.
Oh, do they have like a permadeath mode on Fire Emblem then?
There was, up until Awakening, they only had a permanent mode.
Ah.
Oh, they might have changed it earlier, but that was a big thing with Fire Emblem. You use a unit, you lose a unit, and the unit's gone for good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you usually don't see that with RPGs that have like named characters and NPCs and stuff like that, but
yeah,
it's really common for like XCOM, and Battle Brothers does that.
Yeah, it does kind of highlight one issue which I don't blame the game for. It's just the nature where most of the characters can't really be story related because technically they're expendable.
Yeah.
So the main characterization comes in the bond format with other characters.
That's pretty fair. I do wish more games would kind of quantify how the actual role-playing works. Because a lot of times it's just kind of handled like the way you'd think of like a, what do you call that? Like a visual novel.
Yeah, I'll stick with RPGs just to keep it in this type of game in a section, but it's usually, for the most part, it tends to be a straightforward story, and the role playing is that you play the role of the character going through the journey usually, or you're either as a blank slate or a main character who's like the center of the story.
Yeah, I think one of the things that role-playing games kind of miss out on is actually gamifying the role-playing aspect. Because they might have role-playing or they might not have role-playing, but they usually they don't really have game mechanics based around either way.
I think Persona kind of has that, mainly because this isn't totally unique to it, but the bonding with characters and the rewards you can and the perks you can get is tied pretty intricately into the gameplay.
Hmm.
Like you can get new personas with that, different perks. And I think there are other bonuses depending on the character. Though I'm not sure if there'd be a practical way to have character deaths like directly impact the story. I think a simple way would be to have side quests related to characters, and if a character dies, you meet up with the trigger. It says if only X was around, so you kind of feel the character's loss a bit harder. Besides just having gotten to know them in the bond supports or whatever happens.
Yeah, that's kind of the limitation of RPG video games, is that everything has to be coded in ahead of time.
Yeah.
Although maybe incorporating AI in the future could change that, but
Possibly. That would. I'd be very curious to see how that would work out if it was tried. I feel like that kind of use is much more clever than what we'll actually get.
I've talked about this before, but they had Shadows of Mordor, which they made a big deal about their Nemesis system that they had in there, where it would basically procedurally generate recurring enemies based on the guys that you've already killed or fought.
I remember that. Like that was the most popular thing about the game.
Yeah,
like, people really liked the unique orcs that would pop up.
It was pretty cool, but they made a sequel to it, and then I've never seen a system like that again. I've never seen another game use the same kind of thing. And that kind of sucks, because that would give a lot of games a lot more life, especially like the procedurally generated types.
Or like we talked about one day, like procedurally generating missions of go to X place, kill Y amount of things, then collect Z items, which would be kind of basic, but it would at least give people something extra to do if they wanted to earn experience.
Yeah, Skyrim actually had a system kind of like that, what you just described. They had what they called Radiant quests, which were basically just really simple jobs that you could take.
Okay.
And it basically just like, you get like a bounty or something, and it'd be something simple like, go kill a monster in this location, or this location has bandits and you need to clear them out and stuff like that. And you could just dump a bunch of time just doing that, and it, like, each time you picked one, it would just pick a location and fill it with enemies, and you could go there and do your thing.
Okay. That sounds like the kind of AI stuff that actually seems interesting and would take work to put in. Sure.
Yeah, well, that wasn't AI, that was just scripted stuff. It was randomized.
Okay.
But if they brought in AI, it might be even better.
Yeah, maybe. These days, when people say AI, they don't mean it, but they think of AI art, and which is really just photo bashing.
Oh yeah. I can definitely see some good uses for AI, but art is not really the one.
Yeah, even if I try to put my own personal thoughts, you still need an artist to to work out some kinks in a lot of AI art, because it's kind of getting better, but I feel like it's going to get to the point where it lapses between getting better and worse with that, because there's always going to be so much reference material, including bad references.
Yeah, well, you can kind of weed it out when you're doing the training on the data sets, but
Yeah. But that's going to take time. I've tried it once or twice. I just got kind of bored and thought, man, I could draw this myself.
yeah, I think that's the general consensus. Consensus. That's the word I'm looking for.
I think you said it right first time.
I had like a T in there or something. I was saying,
Hmm.
I don't know, consistence or something. Well, yeah. Kohat said the same thing.
Yeah.
That he tried it, and by the time he was done, he was like, I could have just drawn this myself.
Mm.
And yeah. Same.
Yeah. I've also noticed that with a lot of AI art, this isn't something a casual person would notice, but a lot of it tends to be like very generic single character stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Disney apparently posted some AI art of their
I saw
their
that.
main characters.
Yeah. It looks really creepy.
It looks like a bunch of people in mascot suits. That's the kindest way I can describe it, and it gets worse the longer you look at it.
Oh yeah, did you see the face on freaking Max Goof?
I gotta find a picture of that.
He looks like a total psycho.
They've been laughing as long as I can remember, but they're not gonna laugh anymore.
That is the look on his face.
Alright, let me have... Oh, gee.
You see it?
I see Max. I'm looking at Donald and Daisy and how they're channeling Howard the Duck.
Yeah. And the ducks look pretty fluffy, don't they, compared to everything else?
They really look like them, like their stuffed outfits. Also, why are the chipmunks giant? You know, the real way you know that a normal person didn't draw this is that it was made with Clarabelle Cow in the mix. Such a random character. Oh my gosh.
I don't know who that is, but I know who it is in the drawing because it's the only one I don't recognize.
I think she's actually one of the best looking. Everyone. It looks like they had a bunch of actors in costume.
Yeah, everybody else looks like they're from Friday Night at Freddy's or something.
Yeah. I actually think Pluto looks kind of cursed too, because his eye looks so sunken in. Actually, Minnie's does too. She looks like quite a few of them actually look like either dolls or they're in costumes. Yeah, this is something that either needs to be used as a reference, maybe pasted over if you really want to painted over if you really want to save time and be cheap, but just throwing this on social media was not the way to handle it.
That one might be painted over, who knows?
Oh, I hope not. Oh, I hope not. Like, the point is to make it better, but whoever did just didn't.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem AI is having as far as its usage is going is that people are looking at it as a way to like save money on artists when they should be looking at it from like saying, oh, it would be impossible to do something to this extent without AI, so let's do that. Because like I was saying, like oh hey, Kohet's in chat. What's up, Kohet?
Go ahead.
Kohet, you want to be a mod, right?
I'm not seeing you no.
Ban Kohet?
But I'm not doing it.
There you go.
All right, who's ready to abuse their power? I mean, what?
Ban each other. Go.
Can you ban me before I ban myself?
What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about using AI to do things that you couldn't otherwise do.
Yeah, my main concern has always... Well, I've had concerns with AI, but my main concern would be the cheapest companies being extremely lazy about it and trying to cheap out on artists.
Oh yeah. Well, like I was mentioning before, like with using AI in RPGs to give you a less curated experience would be cool, but again, that'd be using it to do something you couldn't do otherwise. And everybody else just seems to be looking at it like, oh, we could make this so much cheaper to do the thing we've always been doing already.
Yeah.
Go ahead, says, I flee from responsibility with reckless abandon. I'm going to be the worst mod ever, or the best mod ever if you believe mods should do nothing.
Hey, well, that's how I see being a mod.
I'm hit my 50 follower milestone, and for some reason it says I can make people VIPs, and I can't figure out how to make people VIPs. So I'm just gonna make you guys mods instead, until I figure out how to make VIPs, and then I'll probably never take the moderation away. So that's my plan.
Genius.
You know what? I think this picture might be done.
He's looking good.
You do look alright. Yes, thank you, Kohet. We're actually seeing some growth. Thanks mostly in part to pay to play. Like, man, YouTube growth is stupid ever since I started buying like ad space, since they allowed me to do that, because I tried to do it before and I was like banned from Google Ads for some reason. But now they've got a feature to do it through YouTube. And in like 1 month, see, it says in the last 28 days I've gained 367 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Isn't that nice? Gone from 80 to 90 to over 500.
Well, all you had to do was pay to bypass the algorithm.
Yeah. Now, the question is, how many of those people are actually going to engage and watch the stuff? That's the real question.
That is the question.
The Koya says you pay for the reach, right? But getting the eyes to stick around is always on you, provided they're not sending bots your way to artificially inflate numbers. Yeah, that is the question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a question.
And Dale's over in YouTube. Hi, Dale.
Howdy, Dale.
Genuinely nice seeing me stream a lot. I'm not streaming less than usual, I'm just streaming more art.
It's nice to see.
I used to stream games, but nobody came to watch the games.
I'm sorry.
I guess I'm just more interesting than video games, huh?
Man, that's rare for a streamer.
Alright, what is... What am I doing here? You know what? I think I just need to save this thing and be done with it. Move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's the big challenge with art, knowing when to finish.
Let's see. Save as, that's what I'm looking for. Save it with the background, and then we'll save it without the background. Then that'll be ready to slap up on the wiki.
Sweet.
It says, I'm sorry, Dice, but my interest lies solely in the creative pursuits, unless you become a fighting game gamer. Have I talked about how I used to play fighting games and why I don't anymore?
I have never heard this story. Tell me about this new dice bag lore.
Okay, so I used to like playing like Tekken and stuff like that. And let's see. Sometimes like DBZ games like Budokai Tenkaichi 3 was my jam. Because it was literally just like Dragon Ball Power Fantasy in the form of a fighting game. Which, by the way, most DBZ fighting games don't understand. They just make it like a regular old fighting game and then with DBZ characters. But they don't get that DBZ is all about zooming around in the sky and smashing each other into mountains.
Imagine.
I digress. But yeah, this was like during the PS2 area and like right after that when I was playing a lot of fighting games. And I later on tried to play some more in later consoles and I was annoyed because there's a little feature on the freaking newer controllers where like in the old days you had like the shoulder buttons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would do, the way I would play fighting games is like I would rest the controller on my leg and I'd basically play it like a keyboard with both hands. I wouldn't use my thumbs and stuff, I'd just use my fingers so I could hit all the buttons really easily. But then they introduced trigger buttons. So when I would rest it on my leg, I'd end up hitting the trigger buttons all the time. And that was really obnoxious, because the character would do stuff that I didn't want it to do, because the trigger buttons were there getting hit all the time, whenever I pressed it against my leg.
Oh.
So that was real frustrating.
Hmm.
So yeah, I need me some old school controllers if I ever try fighting games again. Also, I'm more of a 3D fighting game guy. Never liked the 2D ones.
That's rare. I barely touched fighting games. I played Smash pretty casually, and the other fighting game that I played much of was ARMS from Nintendo, which...
Of course you would pick the Nintendo-y fighting games.
Well, yeah. I've never been into fighting games. ARMS itself is a really weird type of game because you're pretty much the way you fight is that it's an arena fighter with fairly a limited set of abilities, you have two arms, each with souped up mechanical boxing gloves that have different ways of moving and can have different attributes, such as the fire gloves. They automatically knock someone down and do higher damage than normal. Electric gloves stun someone so they can't move. Ice gloves freeze someone so they're a lot slower and more vulnerable, and so on. And each character has a twist to their movements. It wasn't super popular, but it sold well for a new IP, and it followed the free update system that a lot of multiplayer games like Splatoon did, and relatively speaking, it's probably one of the better cases because for the most part, outside of Splatoon, it hasn't been very good doing that system.
Yeah, it seems like ARMS is to fighting games what Splatoon is to shooters.
Pretty much. It's interesting. The most interesting part of the game was how it was developed by the Mario Kart team, and that seems really strange until they explained how they used their experience with perspective and Mario Kart. You know how in Mario Kart you're racing someone and you can see someone pass you by on a track? They used similar logic with ARMS to help people keep track of the fists, except instead of someone zooming past you physically, the spring of the arm follows the arm itself, so you can see where it is in relation to your character. Because it's very easy to underestimate 3D game, like camera work and keeping track of where your character is in a 3D space.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole generation like that with, I think, the 7th console, where a lot of game companies shut down because they were getting used to the technology at the time.
I just couldn't figure out how to make it work right.
Yeah, exactly. Even with something like Mario 64, the camera can still be a headache. It's just that, and the game overall functions so much better than a lot of its competition. Like, still a great game, especially for the time. But some of the problems are just baked into people not knowing what they were doing, and I guess you could say they leapt into the trend too fast.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Oh, what's Dale saying?
Dale says, man, remember when all updates were free? When expansions added hours of content? When online console multiplayer was free?
Actually, I don't remember a lot of free content, but I was mainly on the console. I could see that on multiplayer. But yeah, online console multiplayer being free was nice.
Yeah. It probably wasn't viable long term, much like social media.
You're saying social media is not viable long term?
I'm saying there's a reason they're seeing a lot of layoffs these days. And there's a reason Elon Musk was able to buy one of the biggest ones.
Oh, are you saying Elon Musk bought a lemon? Are you questioning the elongated muskrat?
I'm not questioning him. I'm saying he's doing the only sensible thing with it, which is making a way to fund it based on users rather than advertisers.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised as many people were annoyed with the name change as I saw. At least the hardcore users, because I have so many bad memories of stuff that would happen on Twitter. Like, X certainly isn't as catchy, but
no, not nearly. So people still call it Twitter anyways.
Yeah, I kind of I'd rather a blank slate than a tainted one. Back then, a lot of it was peer-to-peer. It didn't need to be priced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for MMOs. MMOs were like the foot in the door to this whole subscription bull crap that we have for everywhere, I think.
Yeah. Steam game, and some Steam games, I guess, like, I don't know, like CSGO, they did kind of start and Team Fortress 2 did kind of start the loot box trend. But I think that opened the gateway to it being abused by worse cases. Until they remove it from the URL, I'm calling it Twitter. I don't know what Twitter is. I only know X. There is no Twitter in X.
Yeah, I'm with Go ahead. I'm just calling it Twitter anyways. Because it rolls off the tongue better.
I call it Twitter too.
Let's see, I'm still trying to figure out which class to do next.
What did you have some choices picked out?
Here, let me send you the list.
In the stream chat or...
The stream chat, there you go. That's the page with the classes on it.
Anomaly. What were some recent classes you did?
Let's see. If they have a picture on the page, then I've already done them. Let's see. Anomaly, Beak, Blade, I've all done. Blizzard, still not, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what creatures are actually going to end up with that class.
Oh wait, wait. I remember you offered to draw people's OCs with characters, and you draw, I believe, an ice-based creature that was like a little doe. Was that a Blizzard class?
Say what?
Was he a Blizzard class?
I'm not entirely sure. The ice types are kind of in flux. I'm still working some of the kinks out with them. I'm not sure if he'll be Blizzard or what.
I'm asking because I see Blizzard and Chiller. I'm assuming it's going to be like rain and ocean kind of difference, where there's a twist that separates them, but they're thematically similar.
Blizzard is more based on like wind and stuff. Lots of push effects, I think.
And
first, I could just go into the thing and look at the powers. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Push the target one space. Push the target one space. Target becomes stunned. Push the target one space. Target becomes slowed. Yeah. Lots of movement control in Blizzard. I think Chiller is more just like slowing things down.
Yeah, it's more status effects. Okay, that makes sense.
Stunned. Yeah, so Chiller is icing things up, and Blizzard is blasting things.
Okay. I'm looking through the classes. What about the Scamp class?
Could do that. Let's see. Dale was asking, do the equivalent of furries and cosplayers of creatures exist? Creaturekin? Is there a convention of people in expensive costumes of their spirit creature? Dale, this is like proto-medieval society. They're more worried about survival than, doing weirdo kink stuff.
I remember Gen 4 hinting at that in Japanese. They didn't do that in the original, and they've done everything to pretend that never happened. They never said that. Pokemon.
Which was this? Is this the one you talking about? The one where there's some chick that says like she has a Machamp for a boyfriend or something like that?
No, it's in Gen 4 where apparently it's mentioned how Pokemon people were like closer than just companions. It's a weird thing because it happens once, but kind of pops up every now and again as sort of a meme.
Let's see, if I did the Scamp class, I have one that I did for the Scamp class, but I actually think I'm going to repurpose it to a different one.
Okay.
Let me show you.
Yeah. I was looking at him in the Scamp class page. I remember him.
Yeah, I think he's got kind of a martial artsy stance going on. I think we're gonna move that illustration to like brawler or monk or something like that.
That's the feeling the belt ties that together. Let's see, dialogue in a few games where someone will talk a little sussy about the Pokemon, like the femme beachgoers. Yeah, I mainly think of the weird dialogue where one girl says, "I'm wearing a." You're in the middle of the ocean. She says, "I'm wearing a swimsuit. Where do you think my I keep my Pokeballs?"
Yeah, Pokemon does say some sussy stuff in their games sometimes.
Well, I think that happens. That happens with everything. You just need to take another look. You realize, wait a second.
See, what creatures do have the Scamp class? I need to find that.
Well,
Scamp, alright. Let's see, obviously Arbo. What's this one?
I
Fluther?
don't poop.
I've got a spreadsheet for him.
Okay.
Hitler.
I'm pretty sure you haven't drawn a Scamp class in a stream yet. Or at least one that I've been to.
Well, the Arbo one I think I did on stream. I don't know.
Oh, in that case, I probably don't remember him being in part of that class.
Delay's not that awful, Dale? That's nice to know.
I hear me. No, Dale.
Let's see, we could draw like a Hitler. The little Furby looking things. That a guy?
Oh. I didn't have the Furby comparison until you brought it up.
Oh, really? I've seen other people like latch on to the Furby comparison right away. Put him down here. He'll be your little buddy on the stream.
Hello, Kitmer. Please don't eat me.
Question is, how are we gonna position him?
I was looking up cursed Furbies, and this is not what I wanted, but it's still nice.
I've definitely seen those long Furbies before. That was actually part of the inspiration for his final metamorphosis. Was one of the long Furbies that I saw. He doesn't look as weird, but
I was gonna post that as a joke. You found Kitmer's final evolution. Oh gosh.
Does the gummy class have art yet? No, not yet.
There you go, Dale. Just what you wanted. Finally, the monster girl of your dreams.
Long Furby girl. It's like a lamia.
It's like a mm,
uh,
like the lamia, gork, and duck.
Ducky. This is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in you. How could you misspell Dakimakura? I thought you were cultured, but I guess not. Makura. Furby Monster World is an interesting thought experiment. It would definitely lean more into the monster side, because if you mess with the face too much, it's going to be very easy for you to stop being a Furby. You have to at least keep the beak.
What's this face co-ed's making in the Discord chat?
I think he's disappointed in me.
Go ahead, you're all on board with, like, the monstrous of monster girls. So this is too much for you?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just because I made what could be seen as a slight against Lamias. Every post I've made has spelling mistakes, look. It's just any excuse with this guy, huh?
He's Australian, what do you expect?
I expect his text to be upside down, but at least literate. My education was about how to not dive, heat stroke, and venomous animals, not how to spell and read.
Alright, let's see if I can actually get the anatomy.
The giant
of this
spiders will
thing
be very disappointed
correct.
in your grammar.
Okay, I need to see, like, a cat body doing this pose.
So far, he looks like a seal.
Something like that. It's kind of shaped like Chikorita.
Yeah.
Speaking of typos, yeah, I think you just need to slow down when you're typing.
Dale's too fast. Good spelling can't keep up with him.
Spell check is your friend.
Let's team up. I'll milk them first, and then you can eat them. Watch out, animals. They're on the hunt.
What's Kohat trying to milk?
I want to hear you guess before you look in chat.
Horse, stout, bison, alpaca is what I'm seeing.
he was initially curious about kangaroo milk.
Kangaroo milk.
And kangaroo cheese as well, which I can't say I'm not somewhat curious about. Just because you say it and you start to wonder what would that taste like.
You gotta remember his tail feathers are top heavy.
Kitmer is from the Scamp class, right?
Kitmer has the Scamp class.
Oh,
Creatures each have 3 different classes.
to make sure I understand, classes are like types, correct?
Now, classes are like movesets.
Oh, okay. Oh, and there are types, and the
Yeah.
classes are roles that a creature can fit into.
Yeah. Tells you what kind of things they can do in combat, mostly.
Okay. So, certain classes are classes tied to a type.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's why we have, like, the Chiller class and the Blizzard class. They're both ice types. But they
They have
do
the
different things with it.
Okay, now I understand.
Racing good parts here.
Let's look up Kitmer on the wiki.
Monster Girl Petting Zoo? Dale, don't give me ideas.
I didn't know there were camels in Australia.
We talk about camels in Australia like every time Dale shows up.
I didn't know they were in Australia. That explains why they kept showing up. Gotta encourage friends to see what they want, to make what they want to see.
And why you guys in the Discord chat anyways? Can't you guys get in one of the stream chats? So your conversations can be on the screen?
They need time. They're still resting their gigantic brains from the incredible conversations we had last time. My brain is small, so I don't need to rest it.
see what's Kohat said. The missus and I bought this really nice Asiago cheese. And during dinner, we were talking about what animal could produce the best cheeses. You're worried about TOS?
And you believe it's
Oh no,
likely...
you guys aren't the types to say racial slurs or anything. I think you'll be alright. Maybe you weren't here for it, but Wolf Steel did drop an N-bomb and absolutely nothing happened. Y'all were posting images in Discord? Yeah, but you don't have to talk about them there. Hitmer's really got this, like, head empty look on his face, doesn't he?
No one cares about racial slurs in 2023, but heaven forbid you bring conversations about horse milk. When I think milking, I only think of cows and goats. Nothing else.
Go ahead, when people talk about horse milking, they're usually not talking about milk.
Oh, never mind.
Just code it. Just talk about centaur milk.
That probably would slip by.
This little guy needs to have his mouth open.
He really does look... There really is nothing going on there. No, centaurs are better or worse than normal horse. I think it's pretty much the same.
What's the context? That depends on that's how you decide on what's worse than a horse.
I'm assuming it's the same context we were talking about.
Still not entirely sure what that context was. We're talking about milking them. Wonder what bat tastes like. Probably not much. Can't imagine there's much meat on bat.
That was my thought too. There's not a lot. You're not gonna get a lot off of a bat. I haven't tried a lot of unique meats. Usually it's just simple stuff like beef, chicken, some pork.
Imagine having a conversation with the milk creature. I don't know, Kohat. I don't know if I want to talk to the creature being milked.
I don't think the creature being milked would want to talk to us. I'm sure it has trust issues.
Imagine fruit back milk tastes like Fruit Loops after milk.
We're just talking about eating the pass.
Hey, there's a creature, a fruit bat, like a literal fruit bat.
Oh, I get it. The twist is that it's a bat that's also that looks exactly like a fruit.
And it'd be the plant type.
A flying plant. Wow.
Pokemon hasn't done that yet.
Wait, I gotta check. Is it a flying type? Oh, yeah, it is. Technically, they did with Tropius.
Tropius isn't a bat.
No, it's not. It's just a flying plant. And technically, it does have fruit on its body.
Yeah, also, we don't have a flying type in creatures.
What's your... Oh, what type would replace that?
Probably air.
Okay. Airborne.
Trying to make his little body a little more dynamic here. Like he's kind of twisting and turning it.
Like he's trying to turn around or turning his head.
Like he's dodging and weaving or something.
It looks like he's about to get to stand up. Or maybe he dived onto the ground. Like maybe you could, I don't know, some lines to make it seem like he was moving in that direction. That's my first thought.
Gotta add more speed lines.
You can never have enough speed lines.
I try not to do too much with speed lines in the actual line art, but sometimes that's not a good idea.
It can, yeah, I lied. It can easily become too much when you can't see it. You can't see things clearly in the art. I'm always kind of worried about making sure my art doesn't look too stiff, and a few speed lines occasionally can help. Though I always have trouble doing more than just quick slashes, especially if it's in a specific direction.
Speed lines are something that's kind of just weird to get them to look right.
Yeah. I usually see them best. They tend to be not. There aren't as many as you think, unless it's in a manga, and for the most part, those tend to have or be part of a program with a setting that lets you have speed lines coming in from one angle or centering in on a certain location. Doing that manually is pretty hard, especially if you want it to look clean.
And not too happy with putting the smear there. It's like not enough
Maybe
room
yeah. Like he's twisting his... Are you having it like he's twisting his head, or...
That was the idea, but I don't think it was working out. If I could move it up fast further without it going off the page, it might have.
Maybe if you have it so that his head was like flat against the ground and you angle it so that he's lifting it really high. That way the speed lines might come near the edge. Gotta add more speed lines. Dice. And some after images. And then some motion blur. And then, no cap, Most speed lines and characters are hand drawn. I believe that. Yeah, I believe that, Koeth. When I was talking about the digital version, I was thinking the full splash versions, like a character's really detailed moving. It's like one big panel or a full 2-page spread, and there's just a ton of speed lines going in one direction. I can see that being hand drawn, but I know there's a setting, like there's some digital settings where you can have that stuff is pre-rendered and can be adjusted before it's finalized. I mainly have issues doing that digitally because there's always part of it's me needing to like improve, but there's always that level of shakiness where I feel like I have a little less control than I want in digital art, even though I know that it can be more efficient to use.
You using the stabilizer?
Yeah, I do. Maybe I need to up it a bit. I like having the stabilization at around 20 because I may experiment with higher ones. I want to get it to it smooths my line art enough that I don't have to worry about redoing it too much, but it doesn't take away some of the freedom I have, because the downside of stabilizers is that your pen can move kind of slow, and there was a lot, and it stabilizes things so much that it goes the opposite end, where I don't get the lines to be the way I want in a different way. I'll try upping it a bit. 20 is higher than what I had, and it has been a bit easier.
It must be a different range on the program you're using. Mine's just 5 right now.
Mine's Eclipse Studio, but I usually use flat lines. I do notice that when I used a softer brush, I had a bit more leniency to, I don't want to say not be as perfect, because with the hard brush, I always notice the little flaws more, and unlike with when I see the little flaws on hand-drawn stuff, they feel like personal quirks, whereas when I see little flaws on digital stuff, they feel like more like overt mistakes to me. Might just be part of my mindset on that.
Oh, Kohet says you can change the stabilizer from a 5-pip system to a percentage system.
Studio. Really? Yeah, I'm on the number system. Let me just... CSP tab.
Alright, let's get some color on this guy. Oh wait, I should save. I should rename the scamp illustrations I already have, actually, so I don't save over them. Alright.
Hey, he's looking good. Gee.
He's in motion now. Should probably
Ready
be a
to
little
rock.
lower on the page, though. Maybe not that much.
Just a little more. Nice.
You guys talking about giraffe centaurs again?
Go with it up. Does the human begin at the end of the neck or the beginning of the neck?
Do they have really long abs?
I like to think that the head is normal, the neck is extremely long, and the torso is normal, and then it's back to the four legs.
They got like a 32 pack. Oh, okay, Dale brought it up. Kohet merely enthusiastically responded.
He expanded upon the subject, as expected of an intellectual like Goeth. Perfect excuse to repost this.
What are we reposting?
One of my favorite meme images. Me when I come back from the gym. This is the ideal male form. You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. You're only a real bodybuilder when you have at least 6 packs.
Gotta go from 6-pack to 6-pack.
Exactly. That's when you upgrade to 12, 18, 20, at least a 24 pack. L says his abs look like the inside of a cacao fruit. I click the stab text, so show slider instead of showing it. Ah. Okay. And that change it? Okay, first go slider. I need to experiment with this.
Oh, that's right. He has a colored belly. I forgot.
He does?
Yeah. Hitler's got green on his underside.
Ah, I didn't see. I don't think I didn't notice that in his art.
Neither did I, and I'm looking right at it.
Even the creator didn't know.
This is why you look at references all the time.
References? You mean memory?
No.
I need to work on making some reference sheets. Even just basic ones to help me remember character details.
Okay, there's something weird about the way that is.
Let me have a look, see.
I think I already erased it.
Oh. Would it twist with it? Would the underbelly move with his head?
That's kind of what I was thinking, but that's not how it is on the reference, actually. He's got his head turned on the reference, too. I think we'll just...
Yeah, a little more curved inward.
Maybe like that. I think that'll work.
Sure.
Alright, blue time. And feathers and eyes are the same color. That's nice.
There's some blue feathers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's okay. Let's see. Thinking of games I'm playing right now. I finished Detective Pikachu. Like I said, a very watered down version of Ace Attorney, but it was fun enough. I'm also looking into Tomato Adventure, which...
Tomato Adventure?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that one.
That's understandable, because it was never released outside of Japan.
Ah.
This is interesting because it's made by Alpha Dream and was more or less the art, sort of a predecessor to the Mario and Luigi series. Think a turn-based RPG, but the attacks are WarioWare style mini games for each one.
Oh, so like Yeet.
I feel like I should be offended by that comparison, but yeah. Yeah. Apparently that's the first thing you can think of with that kind of gameplay.
Hello, Pump, over in YouTube chat.
Howdy, Pump.
We are doing good. How about you? It says he rebooted up 7 Days to Die for the first time in 2 years. That's another one I'm not really familiar with.
I've heard of that one. Survival horror set in an open world. Survival horror craft game. Oh. Yeah, those have been kind of popular. Yeah, like I said, I was getting into I've been into Tomato Adventure. It's different from Mario and Luigi, but it's the same kind of humor and a bit of a predecessor to Superstar Saga's art style. I'm also planning to play Super Mario RPG remake when I get a chance. Outside of Pokemon, the Mario RPGs are where I get my main interaction with the role-playing genre. And this one is the predecessor to Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario. Very, very interesting, because from the screenshots, it's a surprisingly faithful remake, right down to Mario, or to the somewhat compressed Mario.
Pump says, I had a bad day. My sister kicked my nuts today. Well, that sucks. He should kick her back in the nuts.
Follow Koeth and Dice's advice. She started the fight, but you can finish it. See. Other than that, not playing a lot of video games. As usual, bit short on time. Short on time. Trying to get some art done. I am still working on that sprite redraw thing I mentioned a while ago. I'm thinking about yeah. A while back there was a dump of an old prototype of Superstar Saga, and there were some cut sprites I was doing some redraws of for practice.
I think I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, I'll probably start posting one or two and break up doing that with some other stuff, because I'm almost done, and I actually think I've been getting faster. It's been a good way to help me break back into digital coloring, because I was coming right off of a full month of Inktober.
Yeah, getting faster is always helpful.
Yeah, faster, or at least more willing to jump back into it. And for me, I consider it some fairly basic line work, because a bulk of it is correcting stuff and adjusting some line weights. My main hope is that after I do that, I can get into some practice with coloring, specifically the sort of painted pastel look that a lot of the Alpha Dreams Mario and Luigi art has. I was able to do it a while ago, but the new version of Clip Studio Paint that I re-downloaded onto my PC, I managed to get that without paying again for it. It didn't have the same brush, and I figure it'll be a good chance to get some practice with making brushes. Because I do need to practice, but expanding my options a bit will be nice. Just so I can get mainly so I can get one or two, a handful of general styles that look good and don't take too long to get done, relatively speaking.
What kind of styles are you working out?
Still thinking about it. I keep defaulting to the Sonic the Hedgehog Arch or Mega Man Archie style, but I need to experiment with that because I haven't been doing too much coloring. I'll probably work on some art studies because I've been doing a few with the drawing, with illustrations, but with the color, not as much with coloring, and I think that'll be a good way to springboard into doing it more.
Yeah, colors a whole thing, isn't it?
It's a whole other class. Art studies. You know what?
It's like going from 2D art to 3D art.
So give me a sec. Got to destroy my fellow admin.
Ban war.
That's okay. Okay, I've just turned co-op to dust. Now let's have the adults continue talking.
What do we do with this guy's background? Gonna be the next question here. Tried just throwing some green down here. Try doing it like this is an actual scene, but then we'll do it real loose and rough.
Perfect.
And it'll look like it's motion blurred or something like that. That's the plan.
Okay. I think having... when I think of like motion, I always think a few lines going in one single direction.
Maybe we'll make the top part blue.
Trying to... Let's see... here it is. I was thinking of comics and was remembering one clever aspect that doesn't show up too much but is really cool when done right. Fun work with reflections.
Reflections? What?
Yeah, just having like if there's a bunch of shattered glass and you can use it to show a bunch of characters' expressions or using it as a dichotomy. This is one of my favorite from the newer Sonic comics from IDW. The stream chats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's hard to do with the cracks, but it's very striking to me. maybe I'll do a trying to think of the kind of study I'd want. There's so many options to pick from. And if I did, I'd probably keep it to do a whole thing, do the whole image as a studies, including the lines, and then trying to get the colors. The fun part would probably be trying to figure out how the brush that the artist chose worked.
They don't have brush packs?
Possibly. Possibly. I might have to ask the artist directly, or I could experiment and see what I get.
What brush sets do we use, Dale? I don't really use brush sets. I tend to make my own brushes just when I feel like I need one. Most of the time I just use the round brush. This one's just literally the same texture of the pencil brush, just in the pen setting, because I don't like to change the hotkeys every time I do this style.
Please do your studies with round brushes. Would round I don't think I'd use brushes of different shape. Oh, that's probably what some people use. I'd stick with round brushes, sure. I wasn't actually thinking of making them with different shapes. I was mainly thinking of textures. Specifically, there was a pastel texture I liked, but but it didn't come in the re-downloaded version of Clip Studio Paint I had. Would something like that be good for a color study? Outside of that, I think I remember doing a lot of work with the airbrush tool. But I couldn't stop thinking that I could try something else. I'll stick with round brushes. Promise. Colors are hard enough. I've done a bit of spraying myself occasionally on in a different Discord, so maybe I'll do it in the artistic savants one, so Goeth can bully me about my coloring choices. Because I can be, metaphorically speaking, a bit colorblind.
Gohead's pretty good with his studies. I've seen him do some on his streams. Should have seen him draw a duck.
That sounds like a joke, but I'm sure there's a lot more. There's a lot more to something like it that looks simple like a duck.
Yeah, if you want to get deep into the coloring and stuff, there's always a lot of little details that you have to pick out.
Yeah. Ideally, I should try to study some complicated stuff and take, I guess, some key points when I'm doing general coloring. Because I want it to be detailed, but I'm fine with not being too realistic. Because from one person in a never-ending training arc to another, the round brush has been my best teacher. Like I told Dice, we're all eternal students. the main reason I've been hesitant about changing brushes is just I don't want to have too many options that I can't decide on. But yeah, I'm fine with sticking with a round brush, especially because I still need to start.
I'm an intern of art, Kohet says. I don't know, I guess technically I have formal training. Not that I learned that much from it.
I went to a school that was related to art, but not the kind of art I was interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if Dice is an intern, I guess where would I count in the rankings of never-ending training arc person? Understudy? No, that implies I'm studying under someone.
You know, I haven't really talked about this, but I think about it a lot. But, like, whenever you get compliments on your art, and you're like, you know that it's not even as good as you could do, and you have that feeling of like, oh, I'm not as good as you say. Like, I've been deliberately trying to fight back the urge to, like, self-deprecate in the face of comments, because I see other people do it, but then, like, I'll look at their art and be like, oh man, this person is better than me and they think they suck.
Are you really an artist if you don't hate your art? Because I can actually feel kind of down on myself in my art, but it's not when someone said, I don't think, oh man, my art sucks, like, constantly. It's more of a feeling of when I'm working, I get frustrated of, oh man, why can't I do this?
Yeah.
Like, you can't get the digital art trying to get a hand right, even when the sketch is fairly close. That's the kind of thing where I get frustrated with myself as an artist, but it's more an in the moment feeling. It's not a passive, oh man, I hate this. And that's not the best mindset to have, because you're gonna have bad art, and you need to sometimes you need to try some rougher stuff to get some practice in.
Oh hey, Kohet posted his fish in the Discord. Yeah, that's the one. I think that's the one. It's a pretty good fish. Your painting skills are probably beyond me, actually. I don't do so great with realistic painting.
Yeah, I should try something like that, but for everyday coloring that I do on art, I don't think I'd use it. Like, exactly one-to-one. I definitely take some good lessons from it. I know that.
Yeah. Trying out different styles is always helpful in some degree.
Yeah, especially because I've definitely been pretty consistent about hammering out my own style. Practice, stepping outside the box here and there is usually good. Can help. You do need to find some realistic stuff to study.
Gotta learn the rules before you can break them, well.
Yep.
That is the truth that many people say.
Yeah.
Let's see, Koha says, most people that draw do a pretty darn good job, especially compared to people who don't draw at all. Well, that kind of goes without saying. I think most compliments are sincere. The objective things in art are dwarfed by the subjective by a country mile.
Bit dice. I'll be the Vegeta cheer Goku. Uh, yeah. The thing I know.
Kohet, you are too nice to be Vegeta.
Go with you. You go with such a polite person. It's the worst Vegeta ever.
You're gonna have
You're still too nice.
your post Bulma Vegeta, I guess.
Are you Vegeta with the? Are you the version of Vegeta with the mustache?
Does that mean you've given up on Monster Girls?
I feel like that's darkest timeline, Koeth. When we know for sure Koeth has given up all hope on what he loves in this world.
Oh, dang it, I forgot to record the time lapse on this one.
Pink shirt, mustache, that's me. I'm so glad you knew that.
I mean, pink shirt and mustache? That's two different time periods.
That feels like it could be the same time period, though. The best of both Vegetas. And he's short no matter what.
Alright, let's save this one. I don't know. Getting kind of late. I don't know if I want to start a new one or call it quits. Maybe we'll just start it and not finish it.
It's up to you. It's up to you. A full one would probably, given how it's been going, I think another full one would probably take another hour.
Probably.
You've been saving, right?
I just saved it.
Excellent.
Let's see. Yeah, I got CSP and 2 PNG files. That's what we need.
Like to hear.
Question is, what would be the next one? Just got Scamp.
I don't remember exactly which ones you haven't drawn.
We could do Sunforged. I just changed the name of that one.
Okay, I was thinking I thought it's Sun. I remember. Wait, what was it named before?
Photosynthetic. Which is not a fantasy word.
That explains why it's positioned between Paladin and Pressurized.
Ah, yes, I forgot to change that. Let's see, we got Bullseye. Flowsy. I've already got a Flowsy member on one. Caterpillar. I've already got one for that too. Okay, there's one more. What's this? Purple. Oh yeah, the one of the new ones.
Which one?
I will post him. Those guys.
Hey, what did you name them?
We have Twerple and Twiggler.
Nice. What class is he?
Gummy is Dale's favorite class for all the wrong reasons. Okay, buddy.
You can't. No, you cannot eat the creatures, Dale.
They turn into goo when you kill them. You can't eat them, of course. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Gotta get up the blank page again.
Get the canvas out to work the magic.
Alright. File. We're gonna save this as Sun forged. Illustration.
Nope.
And
This will be very, very interesting to see you do, since he has a propeller. You could probably have him flying around.
basically I'm just thinking he's gonna be like this. Not mean?
T-posing?
He's soaking up the rays of the sun, not T-posing.
Two things can be true at once. I understand. I understand, though. He's soaking it in from all sides. Goeth asks, what are all the wrong reasons, Dale? Better question, what are all the right reasons, Dale?
See, his headcanon is that they have a rare drop where upon death they turn into Vita gummies. Okay.
We all know that that's a bad idea because the gummies would be the most farmed creatures. We all know wrong reasons, Coep.
That head is too egg-shaped. That's better.
It's a slight... I see a slight oval shape in the art.
Yeah, it's
Like that.
definitely an oval shaped. He was just too long. We don't need no long heads.
No long-head creatures.
I don't need no long-headed creatures around here.
We don't like folks with your head top around these parts.
Let's see. Okay. He doesn't really have a droop on his color flowers.
Oh, they just spread out.
Go ahead, what are you posting? Is this Giga Chad Conehead I'm seeing?
Let me see if I can find a Giga Chat reaction.
Surely there's a Giga Chad with an elongated head, right?
Let me have a look.
Like, what is it, Megamind?
Yes. Well, I found the opposite.
Oh.
think I found a good picture to you to embody go with.
Alright, I just did my hourly check on the Twitter comments, and there's still nobody tweeting.
Are you tweeting, son?
Oh hell, I need to get a reference up for these guys.
Do you have one monitor or two dice?
I have 3.
Do you use all 3 at once?
Oh hell yes.
How do you divide their use?
Okay, so the middle monitor is taken up entirely by Clip Studio Paint.
Okay.
Then on my right monitor, I have the chats from the various places I'm streaming to popped out, taking up half the screen. And then the other half is where I have like where I have my folders and stuff, and also my internet tabs with like Twitter and stuff on it, and also the Creatures Wiki there, just in different tabs. Then
Okay.
on the other side, I've got OBS, Discord, and then behind that is the tabs for the actual streaming sites that I'm currently using. Do I count my digital drawing tools as a monitor? It is a monitor. I have an actual whole drawing monitor. And it is the primary one I use for things. Well, actually, it's the one in the middle, but I kind of use the ones on the sides more often for other things. Unless it's games. Games go on the middle monitor.
So normally middle, in this case, middle for stream, right for stream chat and references, and left for OBS and tabs were the streaming sites themselves.
Yeah, something like that.
Sounds highly organized.
It's supposed to be.
Like a joke, but it is pretty organized. It does sound pretty organized.
It's a lot of stuff to fit in viewing range. Also why I complain when you guys use the Discord chat, because I'm trying to look at like 5 different screens and tabs and stuff at once.
Just get a 6th one. Easy.
I feel like his arms probably shouldn't be that long.
sad because I had a different meme I wanted to post, but I couldn't find it.
Spider Chad.
Yep.
That's definitely a new one.
I think it's one of there are. Yeah, I had to save that one. Not sure why he has a sword.
I don't know, he kind of looks like a Dark Souls boss or something.
That's what I keep defaulting to. You just hear, he shows up and you hear the Giga Chad instrumental theme start playing. Average Dark Souls protagonist versus average Spider Chad.
It's a Spider-Man, says Dale. Really?
Yeah. Technically. Dale, did you play Bloodborne? I haven't played any Souls-like game. Right now, the only one I'm interested in playing is Elden Ring one day.
Yeah, I'm not a Souls player myself.
Yeah. The early Dark Souls looks good, but I feel like a lot of fun at least in a sort of sense, you get a lot of fun trying out different builds for different playthroughs, and I don't replay a lot of games. I mean, unless it's a really short arcadey experience like a rail shooter. Which is kind of ironic because I look into a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog media, but I don't play a lot of the games, at least the 2D ones, because they seem to mainly be built around that, which isn't a problem. But it's not something I directly look into. I may try. I've played the first one, and I may try some others because they're pretty cheap and sold on pretty much anything.
Yeah, they probably were produced to hell and back, too.
Yep. That's kind of a thing with a whole lot of Sonic games, but it feels like since the 2D games tend to be more focused, it's more of an emphasis, like replaying the levels, finding all the secret paths, and eventually getting good enough so that you can consistently go through a level without getting hit or bumping into things, because Sonic the Hedgehog does feel fast, but a lot of the speed comes from going through the level and eventually getting to the point where you're not going to get stopped by things.
Yeah, Sonic always struck me as the kind of game that people that are perfectionists like to play.
It does feel that way because the games usually aren't too long, and the way people talk about it, it's something that they replay a lot. And I can see that with Mario, but it seems to be a bit more of the main experience with Sonic. Even some 3D games, it comes up sometimes of trying to get the highest rankings. Whereas in 2D, it's mainly about either shaving down your time or like the flow, how like how it feels to play through a level or play through a level differently with a different character.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that never interested me in games like that. Is just beating your records. Nothing.
If there's a hard goal and it's not an absurd goal, I'm more encouraged to do it. Unfortunately, like, this isn't just Sonic. A lot of games, when it comes to getting in 100%, they tend to be not very fun to play, and that's if you're going for that. Either because the challenge to do it is unreasonable, or the game itself isn't clear about how to do it, so you need to look up an extra source, or a mix of both. And I don't see it as an old-fashioned thing. It's something a lot of modern games have, because I get the impression that the game gets finished and the developers think about how to extend playtime later on, so it feels pretty arbitrary. As far as 100%ing things go, I tend to find Kirby games can be pretty good at that, because part of it comes from them being fairly easy overall, so it's a bit more forgiving in terms of looking through levels, though you can be locked out at certain points. I mainly think of Kirby and the Forgotten Land for this, because when you enter a level and after you finish it, you get a list of there's a main quest of completing the game and some bonus up to 3 bonus quests, and after you beat a level, if you don't, let's say you beat the level and you don't get all the quests done, the first quest, all of the quests are normally hidden, but the first quest is going to be revealed to let you get an idea of what to do so you can replay it and go back in. Yeah, doesn't give you, like, it doesn't say, give you a full tutorial on what to do, but it gives you enough information to figure it out, and doing a lot of the quest lines was perfectly reasonable, but figuring them out the first time could be pretty hard. Like, in one level for a water theme, you'd be able to finish the quest by bumping into 3 seagulls that are scattered and sitting around randomly in the water.
Bumping into them?
Yeah, you just go near them and they fly away, and when you get 3 of them, you finish the quest.
Huh.
It's not hard, but there are a good number of ones that are either kind of obscure or you're not going to think about doing it in the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't like being told exactly what to do unless a game is really testing my patience. I just wish that something like that for Kirby didn't feel so rare, but maybe I need to branch out with the games I play more. But I feel like indies would be leaning more into that vague, kick you in your teeth kind of difficulty when it came to hunting stuff down. And a lot of games from big developers have always had this problem. Oh. Did you guys ever play Tony Hawk's Underground? No, I guess I could say I was more into Japanese stuff, and I've never been to sports games. What about you, Dice? You played Tony Hawk's Underground?
I've never played Underground, but I played one of the early ones.
What console was it on?
PS2. But, besides that, are y'all really debating on whether Spider Chad is a centaur in the Discord.
I thought they were. Wait, I thought they were talking about Bloodborne. They are talking about Bloodborne.
Okay.
Okay, but let me just ask the question.
That is a question. Is Spider Chad a centaur?
I hope not, because he's gonna get all the centaur girls.
It's over for centaur cells.
Oh, Spider Chud is definitely an arachnivarian, says Dale. Like the spy doors from Pit People.
Okay, buddy. Go ahead, why you got hearts when you say Ludwig? What is this horse-faced monstrosity?
Ludwig, my Pilkowitz beloved.
He has lots of horse legs. Well, the leaves on this guy's head sure took a while.
I saw them. They look really good.
Got some movement on there, actually.
He's moving.
I
I really appreciate Dice, even though I know it took a while. Yeah, I look at Ludwig and I think, finally, a video game protagonist I can relate to.
I think we need to size down this guy's head a tad.
His brain's too big. And plants don't have brains.
Yeah, I don't know. Does that face really look like a big brain to you? Big brain face there.
How dare you, Dice? He's one of the high intellectuals, like Kittner. I can just see him flying around, taking a seat at Kittner, and they just stare at each other for 2 hours without saying anything.
Hitler would do like the cat thing, where it stares at something and gets into a threatening position, like it's gonna pounce, and just kind of wiggles and sits there for a while.
I feel like this guy would plop down and stare at him, but not actively respond.
Yeah.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
I should not have made that change.
What is this creature's name again?
Twiggler.
Twig. I was gonna call it Twigmer. Twiggler. What are you gonna do with this cape?
I was just thinking about that.
Ah.
Let's see. You know what? We could probably put like another one of these. Another leaf on the back here.
His mane is complete.
And then we'll go like so.
Cool. I'll be back in one moment.
Alright. Maybe we should have it going down slightly, a bit more. Something like that. Okay. Now, I don't trust myself to replicate that very well. So I am gonna select that area. Whoop. Yes, this knows that. Knows that. We're just gonna copy and paste. So I don't have to redraw all those angles at the correct angle. Transform, horizontal. Tweak it a little bit.
Back.
Welcome back.
Wiggler is looking good.
He's doing the spirit bomb.
Oh, give me a sec. Let me lift my arm so I can give Linda my power. Wiggler, this is the last of my power. Take it!
Alright, let's merge all these lines. Merge selected layers. And should probably put his face on there.
Twiggler, the first faceless creature.
Now, we gotta have faces on our creatures. Otherwise, they might be mistaken for sub-creatures.
Ah.
Yeah, spread them eyes out. Make them look in different directions. What? What's so funny? What are we laughing at here?
Just Twiggler, the bait, like without the shine, how spread apart his eyes were, it really sold the vacant look. Oh.
I think I might have put it a little too high. I want him to kind of be looking up, but that's a bit much.
Maybe if you shifted the mouth up, so that like his whole face, but
He probably should be squished more, yeah.
possibly like, yeah, compared to the reference art, he is looking. His mouth is shifted up.
That's probably as close as it's gonna get.
Twiggler is about to unleash 1% of his power.
Alright. Let's slap some color on this boy.
Do it!
That brush is too big. And that color does not look the same in relation to all the other things on this page. Wiggler, why you look so gray? Oh man. Had to color his whole cape.
Have fun.
I could probably just fill tool it, but I don't think that would look as good in this
That would
style.
that would clash so hard.
You think? You don't like that look?
No, it looks a little off. Slightly.
Just a little bit.
A teensy weensy bitty bit.
I feel like I'm coloring with crayon. He looks so gray though, man. Let's see. Okay, he looks better when you put it on multiply. Which is normal for what I do.
Yeah, he does look more bright. He does look more brown now.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make his collar the same color as his cape? Same shade?
It's a little lighter.
I thought so.
I need to go back over the cape with another pass just to smooth out some of the gap there.
Gotcha.
So it says you could take this silhouette and put it on a shield and it would look like a dope crest. Give him a sun emblem and a great helmet and he can praise the sun.
He's already doing it.
That's basically what he is doing, isn't he?
It's giving him power. How could he not praise it? Dice, have you watched any anime recently?
Not recently, no.
What do you recall the last one you watched was?
Eurocamp.
Oh yeah, it's an old one.
Old one.
Well, relatively old. Compared to the ones that aren't old.
Everything's old compared to the new things.
Like me. The anime came out around 2017 or 18.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I haven't kept up with too much anime. I usually read manga more these days because it's faster. Yeah, I did get back into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure with Part 5 recently.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And... yeah.
I just don't have a lot of time for passive entertainment.
Yeah.
Especially when I have to read subtitles.
I usually go with the English option, but even then that has the problem of waiting for it to come out. Yeah, I'll probably stick more to manga and video games, and manga comics and video games. That seems to be that's a bit easier for me to jump in and out of these days.
That's why I like games that aren't too what do you call that? Demanding in terms of time.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty big downside of our RPGs in general, which is probably the main unspoken rule of why, outside of something like Pokemon or the Mario spin-offs that are not popular, they're all major time sinks.
Yep.
Like, even if someone really likes them, would you ever meet someone who says, no, they don't take that long?
Everybody has kind of their own ideas of what is long enough. Koha says, roguelike deck builders demand very little time. I know, but even that little time is a waste of my time.
Please join me in my addiction, Dice and everyone else. I need more friends to talk about it with.
You see, Kohet, it's not good unless I can sink a lot of time in the progression, which I hate to do. Which I was literally just complaining about doing. But hey, Battle Brothers lets me do it.
I kind of lean toward. I'm leaning towards like a lot of one and done stuff that technically probably takes just maybe on average 10 hours at most to get the main story content done without. I'm willing to do some side stuff and maybe get close to completion as long as I'm still having fun and it's not purely high score speed stuff. You don't have a problem. I gotta go with. I got a feeling
March
that
26th?
I don't know. I get the feeling that it's taking up a lot of rent space in your head. Go.
Let's see. March? January, February, March? I don't believe you, Cohet. I don't believe you at all.
Wait, why not?
That's what, like 8 months earlier? I don't know, I'm pretty sure I popped into a stream sometime and you were playing that Wild Frost game more recently than March.
He remembered. September is more recent than March, right?
Let's see. We need below layer here.
Honestly, even something fairly short, like 10 hours, can take a while for me to get to, because I want to, but I have trouble binging stuff, both because it can be a little draining if I push myself too hard, with especially with something I'm supposed to have fun with, and I think I tend to feel a bit better when I can break up my day and make sure I do at least two significant chunks of things done, like getting some practice or with art done, or and throwing in some exercise. Just purely gaming for one whole evening can be hard. That's why even like a short single player 10-hour kind of thing can drag on. And I understand the appeal, but I personally can't get into games where a big selling point is, oh, this will take hundreds of hours for you to complete. I can feel there are a handful of games like that I want to try, but that seems to be how every game is trying to sell it. A lot of games are trying to sell themselves, especially if they're endless multiplayer type games that never have any. You're never gonna technically be finished with them unless you quit.
Yeah, well, that's generally how I like my games. I like to be able to play them for as long as I feel like playing them.
Yeah.
I don't want there to be a conclusion that's a certain point in the game.
Yeah, I kind of like a conclusion. I only dislike it when there's no conclusion. If it's, except for a few cases, I don't have that interest if it's from an online multiplayer game. Because I can have some fun, but I keep getting to, I can't help but think of the point. Think of, okay, why am I doing this after I play for a while? Because it can be fun. The games are always wildly inconsistent. Single player stuff, I get stuff that has like no specific endpoint where you can make your own fun. I understand sticking with that, especially I personally just like to want to try a bunch of different games.
Usually when I try a game, I don't try it again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty picky when it comes to my games, and if it doesn't grab me on the first time around and I'm not like, oh man, I want to play that game again, then I'm probably not going to play that game again.
Yeah. I'm not that a very picky person, but I also don't venture too much out of my comfort zone, like platformers and stuff. So the problem isn't getting interested in a game, it's making sure I play it consistently. And I'm not sure. And like I said, I like to bounce around and get different things done. I just don't really have the perfect balance point between keeping up with something consistently and not burning myself out, and leaving it to sit for a while so I'm excited to get to it. but not forgetting it.
Yeah. Seems like playing games is an exercise in figuring out if the time you're putting into it is worth the fun you're getting out of it.
Yeah, in my case, I mainly feel that with the online multiplayer games where you have to mainly play with random teammates. I still have fun with games, but there are certain points where I think it might be I'd probably have a bit of an easier time just drawing the game than finding the time to play it. Because I keep thinking, oh, I need to practice drawing, and oh, there's some cool stuff and characters and things I can draw from this game. I could play it, but if I draw it, I get to think about the cool stuff and get practice.
You sound like a filthy casual.
Like I said, with the stuff I'm interested with, like the obscure Japanese stuff that was never brought over, I'm interested in. I don't think I think I get the side eye from some hardcore gamers. Like, dude, what are you talking about? That's how I feel. Like, one of my favorite N64 games is Sin and Punishment, and that's... I probably brought it up before. It has such a weird development where it was made for the US market and even had English cutscenes, but it was never brought out of Japan because it came out late in the N64's life cycle. So in Japan they had this weird rail shooter that had English subtitles and English with English, well, not English subtitles, but English voice acting and no Japanese dub.
Yeah, that'd be a little odd.
Yeah. Shockingly, Nintendo has actually been consistent about having the game released on their consoles in some form since the Wii era. Which is weird because they're extremely spotty on their legacy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think just with the Switch, they've confirmed that they're not going to reset the whole online service and restart with drip feeding games. Though we'll see whenever they launch their next console.
You can never put 100% stock in the things the company is saying.
Never do, especially because we're stuck in the streaming era, and
everybody wants to be a service instead of a product maker.
And everyone's wondering why they can't figure out piracy. To paraphrase Gabe Newell a bit, piracy is a service issue. Whereas a lot of it comes from the fact that people can't get the games, or in a lot of cases can't get it at through reasonable means at a reasonable price. Yeah. But what does he know? He only runs this little game shop called Steam, and he's only a billionaire? Who does he think he is?
Let's see. I think I might do one more pass. That's some really big highlights on here. Call this guy done.
Oh, I was looking away. I really like the shine. It's like the sun's right behind him. That's cool.
Yeah.
What a happy guy. Maybe there is something going on in that noggin. Hmm. Regarding stuff like piracy and emulation, it's kind of a. I always think of like with games, even if with some obscure stuff, if a company puts in the effort to make it and they're gonna launch it, I just want stuff like that to have a fair chance with as many audiences as possible. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't mean you need to treat every one of this like it's the launch of the next big Mario, because realistically, you a lot of games are just going to get smaller launches, especially because the kind of games I'm thinking of, like stuff trapped in Japan or really stuff with really weird gameplay, you have to dial your expectations back with how many people are gonna get it, and in turn, like dial in how much you want to advertise it. I mainly just want to see some level of advertising and have that scale with how much you expect to see in sales and what you consider turning a profit for that type of game.
Yeah, there's people don't like to well, companies don't like to admit that there are specific niches for everything. They want everything to appeal to everyone else.
Yep, that's the big problem. It's a shame because mainly because I like seeing smaller experimental stuff, and it's stuff that I really don't want them to break the bank on. But we don't see a lot of that with most big game companies. And I know they can do it. Nintendo had the 3DS era, which had a lot of weird titles. One significant one was Dylan's Rolling Western, which got a full trilogy and even a physical release in some regions.
I've never heard of that one.
Exactly. Like that got three games, and you never even heard of that. So it's a niche product that most likely didn't sell a lot, but it sold well enough that more entries were made.
What kind of game was it?
It's a mix. It's tower defense with two sections where you'd spend time gathering resources around the field and setting up the towers, and during the game, the towers would get to work defending against the enemy, the Groks, these giant rock monsters which would eat the livestock. But while that's going on, there are different effects, such as sometimes some Groks can move faster than others. Sometimes the cannons won't be enough to destroy them, or some Groks can even destroy the towers. So So that's where you play as Dylan and run into them, and you go into this separate battlefield where you destroy a bunch of Groks to take them out separately. It's a mix of tower defense and you getting like a top-down combat in a separate battle mode.
Like an action RPG.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's unique. Yeah, it's very unique. And these days, I think the main thing holding it back from getting a new release was that it was one of the cases where it relied really heavily on the second screen on 3DS for the map. You don't think... Yeah. It was much more de-emphasized in the 3DS era compared to the weird stuff they did with the DS. But... Oh, one sec. As I was saying, the use of the dual screen on 3DS was de-emphasized compared to the DS era, but using it as a second map is actually has a lot to be really helpful, even if it's just for inventory management or having having a map always available so that you don't have to keep flipping to it.
Well, I can see why they de-emphasize it. Like
Yeah.
Nintendo consoles always have like some kind of gimmick built into them, and it doesn't always translate well to future consoles.
Yeah. In the case of the DS line, I'm kind of bummed that it went, but it feels like it went through like a natural progression of developers going off of it. The DS had all these crazy ideas, and the 3DS was less crazy, but could still be kind of integral. And the Switch is kind of natural because it's just two different. It's just playing the game, and you have the small version of the big version.
Yeah, I played all the Pokemon games on 3DS, and I don't really remember ever using the 3D feature. It was kind of pointless.
It's there, but I didn't use it because the first time I tried it, I got some pretty bad vertigo and got scared away from it.
It was just kind of like hey, look at what we can do. Yes, thanks, Nintendo. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3D and Monster Hunter was pretty lit. Yeah, I never cared for it, but I see a lot of people who do kind of wonder wish more games utilized the 3DS, because that was the main thing that separated it from being just the DS but cooler.
The DS with the revamped design, but
the DS, but the 3D graphics don't look as bad. Like the 3DS and the 3D and the DS could look pretty jank.
yeah, I think I played the only Monster Hunter I played was on the 3DS. And yeah, I don't think I ever turned on the 3D for that either, so I wouldn't know. Go ahead.
In my defense, I was pretty scared to even try the DS, the 3D in that era, so I have something of an excuse.
Well, I got 3 pictures done today. I'm starting to get a little groggy, so maybe it's time for me to call it quits here.
3 pictures is great progress.
Yeah, it's better than last time. That's a good Monster Hunter 2. Said you didn't like it. Well, it doesn't matter how good the Monster Hunter is if I don't like Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter is pretty grindy.
I'm not big on action games in general.
Yeah, it's basically a colorful version of Dark Souls.
I always thought the weapons were kind of dumb too. I'm not into big, weird, oversized weapons.
Of course they're dumb. That's why they're awesome.
Yeah, I just don't get the idea of smacking things with a horn.
Sounds like you need to watch more anime. Practical weapons are the lifeblood of Rule of Cool.
Let's see. How's our stats doing? Let's check on things before I close the stream. Let's see. Pretty barren on Twitch.
At least you've got 2 mods.
Yeah, I don't think we have too many people hanging out, so we're not gonna bother with a raid as we usually do. But anyways, those of you watching on other places, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you come back next time and subscribe, and you can do that right meow if you haven't already. Hint hint, nudge nudge.
Wink wink.
Wink wink. Know what I mean? So yeah. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys later. And we're going out on the exact same song we came in on. Bye.
Good night.